Hi, welcome to the collective general message reading for all signs. You can enter to win a free reading with me by subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and commenting below. I did pull a few cards to get an overall energy and message and to see, where the collective that I'm reading for is at this time. So I do see we have the lovers here, justice, and the empress. The first impression that I got from these three cards is that there was possibly an imbalance in a connection. This isn't going to be a reading for everybody. This is, I'm reading for some people that have been in a long-term relationship. This doesn't feel like it is something new. This feels like it has a lot of history. And in all relationships that have a lot of history that are long term, the balance within that relationship is always in a constant state of an ebb and flow, right? There's always supposed to be a give and a take in a relationship. And I'm getting the feeling that, the ebb and flow in this relationship was stagnant. There possibly was an imbalance for a very long time. And I feel like, with the Empress card, you are now pouring that love and attention into yourself, right? Our relationships with others are only as healthy as the relationship we have with ourselves. And the more we pour our love and attention and energy in taking care of ourselves and nurturing ourselves, the more we will see the balance in the relationship start to harmonize. I feel like you both need to come together and, plan what is the best course of action to heal this relationship. If there's been imbalance or injustices or the lack of truth and clarity, what is the best way to heal this connection so we can move forward, so we can start again? The star card is definitely about healing. It's following your truth and your path and your north star, right? And compared with the empress, or I should say, um, in coherence with the empress, I feel like, again, it comes back to that self-love, right? The more we take care of ourselves, the more the other person is going to be inspired to do the same thing. And if we're taking care of ourselves and we're treating ourselves with love and respect and nurturing and care, that's going to inspire not only the other person to do that for themselves, but they're going to see the level of respect and love that you require in order to be in this relationship, in order to feel balance and harmony. I feel like somebody here is refusing to see a truth, is refusing to see that maybe, there is a lack of cooperation and compromise. There is a lack of give and take. And they're unwilling to see that. I get the feeling that, if they do acknowledge the lack of reciprocity, I feel like that the guilt will be too heavy for them to burden. I feel like, deep down inside that they know they didn't give the connection, the love and care that it needed or the love and care that it deserved, and acknowledging that truth is too much for this person to bear. You know, perhaps this person was giving their attention to other things. And I don't mean a third party. I just mean, you know, it could be family member, it could be friends, it could be work, it could be, you know, anything. I just feel like they spread themselves very, very thin. And so the energy that you did receive from them was minimum. I feel like they are starting to slowly reflect on their actions. Maybe they're reflecting on how much they gave this situation and if they could have gave more to this situation, and questioning, you know, why was I focused on everything else when I had the best thing in front of me? What is it about myself that makes me behave in such a manner? I almost get the feeling that this person has a hard time being alone, possibly. So they have different outlets or different channels of energy that they can plug into, so they're not reliant on just one thing. Relying on just a relationship to fulfill their emotional needs probably feels scary to them, and that's why they kind of spread themselves over, you know, a lot of different people or places or things. I feel like this person was probably, you know, very emotionally selfish. They thought about themselves in any given situation, and, you know, kind of has an opportunist feeling to it. The seeds that they did plant, or the growth that they, you know, were putting effort into, were, it was for their own gain. And I think they're starting to realize that this type of behavior or mentality is putting them in a state of lack in the end, you know, in long term. Acting that way and only looking out for their own best interest, they end up feeling really alone and abandoned. What they're trying to avoid by spreading themselves thin among other people and distractions ends up giving them the opposite, or what they fear the most, and that's being alone and abandoned. If there is a separation at this time, I feel like this person is missing you pretty deeply. I don't feel like they want to be single or alone. I think that's something that they fear. I don't even think that they recognize they fear being alone. I think they probably think that they are good at being alone, that, you know, they don't need anybody, or they don't require being in a relationship to be happy. But I think, that's just a front. I think that this person really, really fears being alone, and the separation, is causing those feelings to rise within them. And whatever that they were avoiding looking at in the past, they're slowly now starting to see. In this Page of Pentacles, I find it always to be a very contemplative, reflective kind of, when you're in the flow of doing something grounding or creative, such as, gardening, or, painting, or just being with nature, and you're just in your own mind, not even paying attention, and all of a sudden you have like this kind of thought that comes in, or this download, and it's kind of an epiphany. You're like, wow, I didn't see that perspective before, and it kind of hits you out of nowhere. And that's where I feel like this person is at. They're getting these insights when they are alone, or in, uh, a space of, really grounding themselves. I feel like sometimes that this person needs a lot of alone time in order to find clarity. I feel like this person is, again, resisting some kind of truth. I don't feel like they want to acknowledge something. Even though intuitively they feel it, they don't want to acknowledge something. They kind of want to push it aside and just come back in with just feelings of love and romantic gestures, and just get on a really loving kind of vibration with you. They don't want to acknowledge hard truths about themselves or their behaviors. They just want to focus on the good feelings. And I feel like you see through this, you see this pattern, and you're kind of standing your ground. You don't want to repeat the same pattern. You need this person to acknowledge certain things about their behavior. You need them to acknowledge that, how they're acting, but what they're saying is not in alignment. I feel like you are very capable of being emotionally balanced when you need to be. They know that, whatever, if they were to come through with conversation, or, come forward, they know that the conversation that is headed their way is going to be one that is more based on emotion. Where they operate more as the King of Swords energy, where, it's more logical and practical, and you're more emotional base. It's finding this balance with temperance, right? You know, blending the two. Learning how to blend the two is the only way things are going to move forward. Until then, there's going to be this resistance or block, or, you know, both of you are going to be holding back. Perhaps it's, you know, the balance of the mind and heart that's going to heal this connection and get things to move forward. You know, there's a lot of karmic lessons being learned in this dynamic. You both are teaching each other something very profound. You know, there's a lot of duality here. You know, like I said, one person is more logical thinking, and another person is more emotionally based, you know, operates from more of the heart space, where, you know, this person, you know, tries to intellectualize their emotions. And I think blending the two is going to be the best way forward, not holding back. You know, you don't want to hold back who you are, because the more you hold back who you are, the more, you know, things are going to be imbalanced. I feel like there's a lot of patience that is required, you know, in this dynamic, and a lot of space possibly helps this dynamic to kind of balance itself out. I feel like the person that you're dealing with is going through a lot of regret and sorrow. For the lack of clarity, or for the deception, or, you know, not being straightforward with you. There's something about this person that really fears a happily ever after. It's like they watch from the shadows and they don't feel worthy. It's an interesting message. What is the advice or outcome, future energies? A lot of healing taking place. I feel like, again, this is a very deep soul connection. A lot of lessons being learned on an individual level. You know, you both are teaching each other something pretty profound, and it's going to be different from each of you. And I think that, you know, you intuitively know what it is that you're learning at this time. I feel like this person thinks a lot. I think they're stuck in, you know, a lot of memories throughout their life. They think about you pretty heavily, you know, and they're in this kind of meditative, quiet energy, just in their thoughts, balancing out, you know, the energies, healing themselves. If you left and walked away from this person, I think they think about that quite often. Maybe, you know, this is a makeup to breakup type of relationship where, you know, it's always coming and going. This person definitely wants to heal the connection. I feel like they've learned a lot. Again, it goes back to, you know, learning from the heartache, learning from the past, learning, you know, what behaviors get certain results. You know, and that really dictates which way the wheel spins, right? And you know, the awakening, it's the judgment card in traditional tarot, and which is all about, you know, not necessarily reconciling a relationship but rectifying it, you know, making things right, in the sense of, you know, acknowledging certain things, acknowledging, you know, what goes around comes around. How we treat others is going to be a direct reflection of our reality. I think this person is excuse me, starting to slowly understand that truth, and you know, perhaps where they lacked in the relationship as far as their actions or what they gave the relationship. You know, there was probably a lack of love and nurturing for a long time. You know, maybe even the communication style didn't have a lot of love in it at all. I am going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Again, if you want to enter to win a free reading with me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below.